Heather, can you talk to me about some of the individual findings? What did the individual organisations find out about themselves?
I think that most of the organisations were very surprised at the results. A lot of the burning issues were about mythologies that had built up around their organisations that had been taken as read but were not actually backed up by any evidence. Suddenly we had the evidence to either confirm or refute these mythologies. So, for example, my audience can't afford to pay realistic prices for what we offer was an issue for several of the venues, and we could actually show whether that was the case or not, and the answer was different for each of the venues. I think the impact was immediate because we'd gone through this shopping list of information process. The reports came back in two forms. First of all, there was an overview report talking about common issues, but then each of the organisations had a separate report that centred on each of their burning issues. So the report set out very overtly to answer the questions that those organisations had posed. So, for example, how can I raise our earned income? The report listed a set of findings about the real questions behind that burning issue and gave them very clear recommendations for what activities they could change. I think the impact was immediate because the chief executives owned these questions, not just the marketers. The marketers had gone to the rest of the organisation and asked them what they wanted to know, what they wanted resolved. So it was very clear that marketing had answers for the whole organisation, and I think that built their status, and it enabled in most of the organisations a real dialogue between the two functions that perhaps in some had never occurred before. And because the recommendations were so related to issues, they gained the resources and perhaps the time that they needed to actually implement them, because the benefit was absolutely obvious to everybody involved in the organisation. These activities, these changes were going to solve a problem.